going to come down and somehow save us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That ain't going to happen. Okay, it's just not going to happen. Number one, it's against the non-intervention rule. Okay, the prime directive, if you will. Number two, if they're the least bit hostile, if they're in any way envious of our world, then why risk losing an invasion battle? Why don't they sit back, let us kill each other off, and then they just come in and take the planet?
Yeah.
And so I just don't think, whether they're benign or not so benign, I don't think we're going to see alien intervention in saving us. Okay, we're going to have to save ourselves, and that means we got to educate ourselves to what's really going on. We got to educate ourselves to the real meaningful topics of discussion, such as environmental degradation and the poisoning of our foods, the chemtrails, the chemicals that are being dumped in our atmosphere, the weaponization of space. All of these issues. This is what we have to concentrate on, rather than the game shows and the celebrities and the sports events. And then we have to work towards it, but we work at it not from a fearful perspective. Oh, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, and it's never going to be any better. We have to go at it from a standpoint of love and optimism and think, this is a pretty nice world. Let's keep working to keep it nice and even make it better.
Yeah. And do you think that, a thing like, let's say 2012 could be used at this point also to kind of manipulate people into thinking that, beyond that date everything will be fine, it's okay, so everything will be good, so we don't have to worry now?
Well, all of the prophecies, including the Mayans and on up, just says that's when one time period will end and another time period begins. Or they said this will be the end of time, meaning the end of a certain cycle. I, for one, do not think that the world's going to end in 2012. But I will say this. I think by 2013, 2014, let's you and I talk again, okay? And because, with God willing and the creek don't rise, we'll still be here.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk again, and I'll be willing to bet you that by late 2013, 2014, we'll probably agree that the world as we know it today will not be the same then.
Exactly, okay. Yeah.
Now, that does not necessarily, it may be worse, it may be better, but it's definitely going to be different. I mean, 9/11 occurred only 5 years ago, and yet I've lived long enough. Believe me, the United States, as it was in 1999, we're in a whole new world. We're in a different place now. This is not the same country. We're not operating the same. We don't feel the same. We're not in, it's just all different.
So we have to, as we do, I guess, in that sense, take back the media. And I just want to mention, or get your take.
That's true. We definitely have to get control of the media so that all aspects of news and information becomes available to all people. It's there now, actually, but if you have to work at it. Okay. Henry, just think back, say, 10 years ago, and I don't know how old you are, but hopefully 10 years ago you were essentially an adult, right?
No, I'm 27, so 17 is not an adult.
Well, you would have been 17.
Yeah.
And that's, for all practical purposes, an adult.
All right. Okay.
So, 17, I think you'll agree, you are not the same person today that you were when you were 17, are you?
No, of course
not. You know more, you think about different things, you understand things better, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in another 10 years, we're going to look back and we're going to realize that we are not the same person as we are now.
Exactly.
So everything changes, and the trick is to see that you hold on to the things that are meaningful and true, and let go of the things that are false and misleading and all like that, and so that as you change for the better.
Yeah. So one idea I came to think about was regarding that we have we have been able to use the internet in these last few years now as an incredible tool to communicate so much of this kind of information here. But there have been hints about, the censorship of internet and things like Internet 2. Have you heard about this?
Oh yes, I'm well aware of all this, and see, that's again, they've got to do something to keep us from freely communicating with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you have knowledge, and knowledge brings power, and if the people gain power, then that means that the ruling elites are going to lose power. And they can't allow that. And of course, there'll be every excuse in the world. I can almost tell you right now, it'll be to save the children.
Yeah.
Okay, got to save the children. And protect the children, and then protect the innocent, and then to protect us against terrorists. They'll have every excuse in the world.
Yeah.
But the main thing is they've got to stop us from communicating with each other, because the one secret that we have, over and above the secret societies, is that there are more of us than there are of them, and we're getting smarter all the time. And I think they know this, and I think that's why they're in this rush to gain complete control over the world.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And Jim, this has been an excellent interview, and I certainly would want to have you back sometime in the future if that's possible. And of course, in the last few minutes here, basically the floor is open if there's something you'd like to talk about, or if you just want to, mention how to get your books and your website again and so forth.
Well, again, to put in a crass commercial plug,
yeah, sure.
My books are available at any bookstore. They can probably order them. There are UK editions, I think, of almost all my books. You can order off of Amazon.com. I think you mentioned earlier there's an Amazon.com UK.
Yeah.
That you could probably get, or you can go to my website, jimmars.com, JIMMARRS.com.
Excellent.
And I keep trying to post articles of interest that you probably won't see in the mainstream American media. And interestingly, a lot of the things I end up posting come out of Europe.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of a strange thing, because over here, we have the First Amendment that guarantees us freedom of press, and we like to say that we have this free, unfettered, and watchdog media, and yet that it's under total control of 4 or 5 corporations.
Exactly.
And we seem to be getting less information than the Europeans.
Right.
By the way, the line over here is that freedom of the press belongs to the guy that owns the press.
Yeah. So that's the thing now, right? We are, as you say, we're down to, what is it, 5 big corporations basically?
Yeah, just a handful.
Oh my God.
And see, I was real concerned about 10 years ago, because what had been, when I was a young man, every major city in the United States had at least 2, sometimes 3 and 4 different newspapers, and 3 or 4 TV stations, and a dozen radio stations. And if one was kind of under control and wouldn't reveal a story, then the others would. But now it's all devolved down to every major city basically has one large newspaper. Those newspapers are owned by multinational corporations, and same way with the TV networks. For example, NBC is owned by General Electric. NBC Television is just one, probably not so profitable branch of their huge multinational conglomerate. Where they really make their money is off of their defense contracts. So is it really in the best interest of NBC as a wholly owned subsidiary of General Electric to tell the truth about Iraq? No.
Exactly. Yeah, and this here is the I think the root of the problem in that sense, because everything is owned by one single point, or if it is a corporation basically, and I guess according to the definition that I recently heard, I guess corporatism is the equivalent to fascism. Isn't that correct?
Well, that's what Mussolini said. Mussolini, who's kind of credited with coining the term fascism, because in fact they were named after his black-shirted fascistas. He said